there guys, Aldershot here. Today we're going to do an impression video on Dominion Online. Now if you're not familiar with what Dominion is, it's a very popular card game. And I've actually played quite a bit of it with some of my friends back home, and it's very, very enjoyable. I really like this game. So as soon as I heard there was an online version, I had to try it out. And I gotta say, it's pretty good. It's pretty damn good. Now Dominion Online is still in early access, alright? It's in open beta right now. And it is a free-to-play game. It's a browser game. And as you can tell, this game has kind of an awkward resolution currently. And again, that's because it's still early access and the developers really just want to, get the important stuff out first. The foundation build, if you will. Okay? So, it has a kind of an awkward build, or awkward resolution, I should say. And another thing I'm not a huge fan of so far is the music. I'll play some of it for you. So there you go. So as you can tell, it's pretty cheesy. It's a little bit generic, and it doesn't leave much to the imagination. I usually have it on mute. And I usually have my own music playing, or a video or something playing in the background. But, besides the whole resolution thing and the music thing, it's actually a pretty solid build so far. I mean, it's not perfect. It definitely has a couple of bugs here and there, and I'll point those out as we go. But, the important stuff is there, You can play the game online, and it does function quite well. It does have a single player mode that also serves as kind of a tutorial mode as well, which is kind of nice. Not much in the way of options. You can turn the sound effects off and on. You can turn the music off and on, which we've decidedly turned off. What else is this? Oh, there's a little explanation of the game. And we got your support here. So not much in the way of options. But again, this is early access, and this is really just a foundation build. Now, like I mentioned before, this is a free-to-play game right now. It is in the browser. And when you sign up, you do get the base game for free. In fact, you don't even have to sign up. You can just play as a guest with just the base game. And in the base game, you get your standard initial pack of cards. Now, you can buy new cards and new packs as well. And we'll explore that now. We'll go into the store and check what that's all about. Alright, so, as you play through the game, you'll earn, like, these coins here, gold or whatever. And as you notice, the actual packs with the new cards and stuff actually doesn't cost gold. And the only thing you can purchase is new adventures for your single-player campaign, which is a little lame, to be completely honest. But, yeah, it's there, whatever. In order to get the new cards, you have to purchase Go coins, and each 10 Go coins worth roughly about 1 USD. So there's the math for you, and you can actually get all the packs in one purchase right here, the Ultra Pack, for about 45 bucks USD. And it might sound a little expensive, but considering the real life version of Dominion, and if you were to get all the packs for that, it would cost you hundreds of dollars. So it's actually a pretty good deal if you think about it, considering that it also has online, and you don't have to clean up the table after you're done with it. Which, trust me, anyone who's played the real version of Dominion knows that's kind of a hassle sometimes. So we'll close that up. That's basically the free-to-play model that this game's going with. Now I'm only using the base cards right now because I'm cheap, I'm poor, and there's a whole lot of cards to learn, so baby steps. So we'll actually go into a game. We'll just go into adventure, just so we can control the pacing of the game, because I don't want to, it'll be kind of rude to play online and stopping for a little while just to talk about it. They don't know what's going on. They might not like that. But anyways, so this is the adventure mode. You just kind of play through it. With each boss kill, you earn victory points, and victory points can be used to purchase single cards to add to your collection. And the cards that you have in your collection you can use to make decks to play multiplayer. We'll explore that down the road, but let's just get into a game for now. Alright, so let's see. Now, I'm not exceptionally great at this game, alright, just so you guys know, but I'll do my best to explain, basic strategy and how the game functions and stuff like that. So, if you're not familiar with Dominion, the way the game works is kind of like Texas Hold'em of card games. It's a little weird in that way. Every player starts with 10 cards. You know, you'll get 7 coin and 3 estates or victory points And the whole point is to collect points, and in which when the game ends, each player will count up how much points they have, how much victory points they have, and the player with the most victory points wins the game. Seems logical, right? It's a pretty simple premise. So in order to buy more victory cards, you need money. You need to purchase treasure or coins. And in order to, maximize your turn, you should purchase action cards, which we'll get into. But anyways, basically, the game comprises of purchasing cards, using those cards in order to gain victory points, and that's basically the premise. Well, let's get right into it. So again, this is just a single player campaign. I will be showing some multiplayer after this as well. So right now, with each turn, you draw 5 cards. Okay, and that's why you kind of want to buy higher value treasure. So when you draw into them, you're not just getting 1 coin or 1 value for each treasure card. You want to draw 2 or 3 for each treasure card that you do draw. Now, the whole point of the game is to collect the victory points, as mentioned before. However, when you're actually, when you actually have them in your hand during your turn, they don't do anything for you. Okay, they don't come into play until the end of the game. So they're really just dead draws. So you really have to kind of manage when you purchase your victory points and when you should be purchasing cards to build up to that point. Alright? Because probability plays a big role in this game. It's all about maximizing probability and not just building a huge inventory. But let's get right into it. So we got 3 value, 3 coppers. So I'm going to get a silver so I can possibly draw more value in my next turn. So right now I got 4. And what will we get? You know what? I usually like getting Smithy early on because it gives me 3 cards if I draw into it, which we did. So our maximum hand size is 5. Alright, and we play a card that lets us draw more, we can actually exceed that maximum on that turn anyway. So I just drew 3, drew 1 dead draw, drew 2 coins. So now we got 6. So let's get a gold. So next time we might draw into even more value. So anyone who actually played this game, the tutorial might be a little bit redundant, but I just want to explain for anyone who might not know. So I got 4 value this time. Let's see, what should we get? You know what? Let's go with another silver. So I think you guys kind of get the point of the strategy anyways. Just like I said, the game comprises of buying stuff and then getting victory points. And the turn order generally goes ABC, as an action, buy, then cleanup, which is the end of your step. So we got our Smithy again. Let's draw into more cards. There we go. 8 coins. Now, I have 8 coins now, okay? I could buy a province, which is the victory points. But the thing is, even though I can buy it now, which would put me ahead of the game because I'll have the most points currently, it will be a dead draw next time I draw into it. So I have to factor that in. Or I can get a gold, so next time I draw into the card that I'm going to buy for this turn, I can actually get a more powerful card. It's still early game, so I'm going to get a gold. So for the people who actually played to me and already know what's going on, as you can see, the game does function very, very well. It has a very easy to understand UI, and you can actually press this button here and get an even clearer picture of what's on the board, which is nice. And the way it depicts your hand is pretty easy to understand, and it has a lot of good sound cues to let you know when something's important that's happening, like when someone buys a province or when someone buys a gold. So these are very important things. So we got 6 coins this time. Let's get another gold to up our value. Man, we've been drawing that Smithy a lot. So let's just pull that Smithy again. Alright, we got 10. I really like to get more buys because I'm starting to draw into a lot of value. I don't really want to buy province quite yet because I don't want more dead draws, at least not yet. So let's get a council room. The council room is interesting unless you draw a lot of cards, okay? But it also gives the opponent one draw as well. However, I also get the benefit of having an additional buy because each turn I only get one one of each action, whether it be buying, an action, or cleanup. So Smithy, let me draw more cards. Let's see. Let's get a mine. Mines are great because it lets you discard a low value card so you don't draw into it later, and you can replace it with a higher value card, which is always good. So we drew our council room. Let's see how that goes. Alright, 13 coins and 2 buys. That's very good. So we're going to get a province just to keep up with the opponent. Now we got 5 coin left. I could buy a garden to be ahead of the game, or I could buy another card. You know what? I could use a throne room. Throne rooms are interesting. They let you, it doubles up on an action that you're holding. Sometimes it can be a dead draw though. We'll play another smithy. We've been making a lot of use for that smithy. That's pretty decent. So 8 coins, you know, let's start buying points. I think it's about that time. Another council room. So our draw cards are doing us quite good, and the council room is doing us quite good as well, because it's letting us buy something else right after we buy something important. You know what? Let's start buying a workshop, so when we draw into it, we might be able to pick ourselves up a garden at the same time. So here's our mine. We're going to trash a copper, which is only 1 value, and replace it with a silver, which is 2 value, which is really good. We're going to buy another council room, because we seem to be drawing into a lot of value, until this turn anyways. People are buying, or I should say my opponent's starting to buy a lot of points, so I'm going to try and stay ahead of the game and buy a garden. I got more council rooms than he does, so it gives me more buying power, and the way gardens work is I get more victory points for each 10 cards in my deck, so I have a higher potential of building a bigger deck than my opponent, which can prove useful. A workshop. Yes, let's do that. I'm okay with the 4 purchase this turn. Chapels are pretty good, but it might be a bit too late into the game in order for this to be useful. It's great around the mid-early game, because as you buy more silver and gold, you want to replace them with your copper. So you spend a turn or two to discard all your junk cards, your low-value cards like estates and coppers, and then you'll draw into your silvers and your golds more often. But we're not going to buy that. What are we going to buy? We got 5. Let's get another mine. 6. Let's get another gold. Alright, we got the throne room. Let's double up on our council room. This is a risky maneuver because I'm letting him have 2 extra draws. I might not draw into what I want. Which I kind of didn't, because I didn't get 8 coin. That's okay, we'll get a garden, and we'll get a workshop. And we'll get a copper just to fatten up our deck for our gardens. You know what, we're going to start investing into gardens. That's what we're going to do. Well, maybe not this turn, because we got 9 coin. Alright, we won! Hooray for us! That's generally how a game kind of works in Dominion anyways. It's actually a very, very good game. It's very cerebral. It's all about micromanaging and probability assessment. It's all about, you know, trying to build the most efficient deck to collect the most amount of points in the most efficient kind of way. I should also mention that the game ends whenever there's a certain amount of piles of cards that are all used up. Okay, 2 players, I believe, is like 2 piles. If it's 3 players, like 3 piles, or something along the lines of that. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not an expert, but you know, I just really enjoy playing this. So let's explore multiplayer a tiny bit. Don't mind this. This is a bit of a glitch, I guess. Now, multiplayer is great. It functions fine. I find that most games do, you know, progress pretty reasonably, especially as a browser game. However, there's a couple of things about the multiplayer. Sometimes when you start a game, it doesn't start, so you have to recreate it. That's a little annoying. Another problem is that there's a bit of a quality of life issue with this game. There's no friends list. There's no favorites list. You can't, you know, ban a player from playing your games or anything like that. There are trolls sometimes, and during, like, there's a really long, like, wait timer. So if the player doesn't take an action, he has like upwards to like 5 minutes, I think, to do something. So you could be sitting there for 5 minutes doing nothing while he's just trolling you. That I've seen that before a couple of times. Now this game does count how many times you quit, which does you know, help discourage people just quitting the game, which is nice to see. And it does record your win-loss ratio. So, you know, let's create a game. Now, you got a couple of options in multiplayer. You can do casual play, which is where you make your deck, which I'll show you that, actually. I think that'll be useful. So, I'll go into the whole deck building thing. Where shall we go here? My decks, game setting, my cards. Here we go. It's my cards, I believe. Let's get out of this. Here we go. Yeah, my cards. We go add deck. And over here is the amount of slots you have. So, you know, like I said, I only have the base game. So, this is not a huge selection. However, there's thousands of cards in this game. So, when you buy all the expansions, you got a pile of different cards to play through. The only thing about, you know, having thousands of cards available is that it makes it a little bit daunting learning the game a little bit when you're joining someone else's. Now, that's the nice thing about it. You don't actually have to buy all the expansions to play with the new cards. You can just join somebody with all the cards, and you can play their cards in that fashion. However, like I said, it's a little bit daunting because they're familiar with the cards. You might not be. So this game might require a little bit of research, a little bit getting used to. Other than that, stick with the base game. If if you're a little bit intimidated by all that. So there we go, we created a little deck. It's not great, you know, I just kind of pieced it together. That's basically how you make a deck. And you can select it through here, you know, select your deck. And you can choose either professional, unrated, or casual. Unrated is exactly that. It's a casual format, but you don't get any ratings, and neither does your opponent. Casual is where you can select the deck, or you can hit randomize, and it'll randomize the deck for you. And it counts towards your casual points. Professional play is mandatory random, which I like. This is what I generally play with. And it just randomizes all the cards that you have available to you into one game. And you can have upwards to 6 players. You can also limit it to just 2 players, which I generally like to do. Because with the more players, the higher chance of getting a troll or slow players, which can be annoying. Okay, we got somebody join already. Which is another thing. The community seems to be very, very strong. I don't normally have to wait very long for a game, which is very, very good. And there's usually lots of games available to join. And games don't tend to stay open all that long, which shows a very hungry audience, which is good. I think this game has a lot of potential, to be honest. It's very, very fun. I don't think it's as costly to play as, say, Hearthstone, because once you spend $45, that's it. You got the whole game. You can play online as much or as little as you want. And being a browser game makes it really, really good as well, because you can play it anywhere, which is pretty awesome. So I'm not going to go through the strategy. We already kind of talked about it. I'm just going to play through a game. But, you know, there's a couple of things that could be worked on. The resolution is definitely one. The music is definitely one. The graphics is, you know, it's pretty basic. The background is pretty generic fantasy. So is your avatar and all this other stuff, to be honest. But the card representation of the actual cards is fantastic, I gotta say. These are exactly how the cards look from the real version, which is nice. And like I said, the UI is extremely well done. It's very, very easily understood, and that's the important part. And you can check it all out through clicking on that thing, which is nice. And you can talk to your opponents as well, which is useful. 6, let's get a gold. Oh, I hate militia. It makes it discard cards. It's very annoying. But if you're into games like Magic or Hearthstone or anything like that, I see no reason why you wouldn't enjoy this game either. It's like I said, it plays like, it'll definitely activate the same parts of your brain when you're playing those other card games that I mentioned. Okay, like I said, it's all about calculating probability, deck building efficiency, and I did mention how it's kind of like the Texas Hold'em of card games, and hopefully you can see why. Like, everyone kind of plays and make their decks from the same cards that's available on the table, much like Texas Hold'em, which I found to be a very interesting concept. But that's generally the game, and this is generally multiplayer. I won't make you watch through this whole game. I think I've talked enough, and I think you guys understand what this game's about by now. So this is Aldershot. You know, I always appreciate you guys watching and all that. If you enjoyed this or found this informative in any way, please send me some love. Hit that like, comment, share, fave, all that stuff. But most importantly, please subscribe, because I'm still a very small channel, still a very new channel. So help a fella grow, feed me my vegetables, and subscribe. Thanks guys. Aldershot out.